Thank you once again for joining us. And back now to that breaking news, TMZ reporting the death of OJ Simpson. Sam Rubin is with KTLA. He's the entertainment anchor out west for us. Sam, thanks for being here. A lot of people now digesting this news of the death of OJ. What do we know about his health and the reaction right now from the entertainment world, the sports world, just people all across the country?
Well, I think, Marni, it is impossible to overstate what an extraordinarily large story this was, and sort of a two-pronged story. The murders, of course, of Nicole Kidman and Ron Goldman, and I think undoubtedly committed by the now late OJ Simpson. And this was an extraordinary story locally in the neighborhood of Brentwood, where I lived in Los Angeles. And, of course, reverberating throughout the world. Incredible gavel-to-gavel coverage of the trial, which resulted in his initial criminal acquittal, despite overwhelming evidence that he, in fact, had committed the crime. Then, of course, a civil trial where he was found responsible for their deaths. Ron Goldman, one of the victims, his sister has never stopped talking about this case. His father, Fred Goldman, also never stopped talking about this case. So I think people are now suddenly thrown back to this period of time. And what an extraordinary downfall for O.J. Simpson, in that he was this hugely popular pitch person for Hertz, a sportscaster, actor, TV personality, and then suddenly this murderer. And the fact that all his misdeeds prior to this, the many times police were called for incidences of domestic violence, were in effect covered up. Nobody really knew about this aspect of O.J. Simpson's life. And then suddenly we knew all too well. And I'm also thinking about the huge cast of characters that sort of inundated the culture, from Judge Ito to so many others, the prosecution team, the defense team, a variety of witnesses, his housemate, Kato Kalin, who could have testified more completely, which many observers felt would result in the immediate conviction for O.J. Simpson, but he was reluctant to do that. There are so many stories and sidebars, but the headline, O.J. Simpson, the former local Southern California and then Buffalo Bills football star, murderer, I think is not an unfair thing to say, found dead as a result of cancer. The announcement from his family, 76 years of age. And in these final years and months, Simpson was active on social media and commenting on a variety of things. It's the most extraordinary story. And then, of course, being jailed for several years for a theft in Las Vegas. There's so much surrounding O.J., Marni. It's really difficult almost in real time like this, with the announcement of his death a very short while ago, to sort it all out. But I think anybody who was around at that time, locally in Brentwood, nationally, globally, knows the story of the O.J. Simpson trial.
Yeah, I mean, Sam, I'm thinking back to when the acquittal was read. I mean, O.J. was visibly relieved, but also probably as shocked as everybody else that he got off and was acquitted of the murder of Nicole Brown Simpson and Ron Goldman. I'm looking at some of his most recent social media tweets, and one dates back to May of 2023 when he announced he had cancer. And then in February, there were some reports that he had entered hospice, but he also said, I'm dealing with some issues. I think I'm over it, or I think I'm about to be over it. How much did we know about how bad his cancer had gotten in the last year?
I don't, you know what, Marni, I don't think that was widely known, because I think he was in this sort of category, dare I say, of has-been, that he had been so extraordinarily famous and then extraordinarily notorious. And then people felt, oh, maybe there was kind of there was karma of some sorts, that he'd spent several years in jail for this relatively low-level robbery, as opposed to ever being jailed for the murderous acts that he committed. I think the general thought is, oh, he's retiring and, playing golf primarily in Florida. And there was this announcement that, he had some encounter with cancer. But I don't think, A, people were tracking him. And B, I don't think people were aware of the obvious gravity of his illness.
Yeah. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.